moment she saw her mom compete, this athlete knew what she wanted to do with her life. Bursting on the scene, a winner, almost from the start. That's not bad. Still winning and doing it in a sport that does not normally proceed without some form of illegal use. Welcome in the pride of Fairhaven, Massachusetts, Cindy Resendez joins us. Cindy, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
A champion bodybuilder in New England, that we might point out. Now, how did you, I mentioned that you saw your mom do this.
Yes.
So how long ago was that? Tell us what it was like watching her compete.
It was very inspiring to see her go through the whole diet and get up on stage and all the sacrifices she had to make to actually get up there.
Now, did she ever tell you to, did she ever try to push you into this sport, or did she ever tell you that this would be a good way for you to get involved in sports? How'd that start?
Well, she did it to keep me out of trouble.
Okay, now we got the real story here, okay?
Yeah.
So she basically said get involved in this instead of doing other things on the outside.
Yes.
Okay. Now, you actually, and this is the thing I found interesting, you didn't start competing until 15.
Right.
Right, okay. Were you working out before then? Was there anything that went on before then that made you an athlete?
No. I worked out 3 months prior to actually entering my first show.
Okay, so starting at 15, and you won your first competition?
Yes.
Now, wait a minute now. You don't win first competitions. Tell us what that was like the first time you went out there, because this is a showcase event, Christy. I mean, you're in front of people to do this. What was that like, appearing in front of all those people?
It was scary, but it was exciting, the rush of having been on the stage.
How did you prepare for that?
I had lots of friends who helped my mom and in turn helped me.
Were they people in bodybuilding at that point?
Yep.
So this is almost a bodybuilding family for you, correct? You came from this, so it was a natural for you to make this jump.
Definitely.
Okay. Now, there is something that's everybody talks about with regard to bodybuilding. And it's interesting, you take part in an organization that does not allow illegal substances, correct?
I've taken part in 2 organizations that don't, and I've also taken part in one that doesn't test.
Now, the IFPA is the one that they can drug test you at any time, correct?
Yep.
Now, why would, and I know this is going to sound like an odd question, but many people who get involved, men and women who get involved in bodybuilding, they go the drug route. Isn't it a whole lot harder? I mean, a lot harder to do it without something illegal?
I would think it would be the same amount of work. It's just different league.
How so?
Well, they still have to lift. They still have to do the diet. So the only difference is choosing not to do it.
Now, but you made a conscious decision not to do it, correct?
Correct.
Why is that?
Because I don't think it'd be fun for me. I think it'd be more work to invest in something like that. It's not a part of who I am. I want to be the best I can be naturally.
Now, you actually got involved, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we talked about this. You went to an event that does not test.
Right.
Right. Now, how long ago was that?
That was, I believe, 4 months ago.
Okay. They don't test, so in other words, anything that happens, anything goes at those events, correct?
Yes.
Use anything you want, which is frightening indeed. You're natural, and you placed second against the ones who are monstrous. And I got to tell you something. We saw the videotape of it. The woman who won, I'm not quite sure what was going on there, but she was like 4 times your size. Why would you do something like that?
I wanted to see where I'd place against people who did do steroids. I wanted to see how a natural bodybuilder would go against someone who's not natural.
Is natural bodybuilding on the rise at this point, or is it still something that most people don't do?
I think that it's going to become more popular.
Why is that? Is it just because people don't want to use the drugs? They're scared of getting caught?
I think it could be for the risk factors, health-wise. It could be that maybe people aren't interested in seeing that physique anymore.
Really? So in other words, there is a thought about too muscular?
Yeah.
Because I will be honest, there's people who still feel that it's, a good way to say this, people feel it's not right for the human body to be that muscular. So do you still try to put some femininity into this?
Yes.
Now, that's got to be difficult, though, because you are you are bulking up to a point where most people's muscles do not show at that point. How do you manage to do that in your stage show?
I try to present my physique in a feminine way, with the open hands versus closed grip fists when you pose.